how do you first get introduced to the concept of being a bounty hunter?
So when I was in college, and I realized that football was going to be the path that I was still going to take afterwards.
And what made you realize that?
Well, I dislocated my shoulder. Went to a bunch of tryouts. I mean, it's a lot of politics when it comes to football, and depending on what school you coming from. So it was a lot.
Right.
And once I dislocated my shoulder, I just said, forget it. I need to start looking into something else.
And at a certain point, are you also looking at like NFL level dudes and realizing, holy shit, these guys are really elite? Maybe this is going to be hard to compete with? Or?
No, I didn't think like that.
You think you had it?
I was an amazing athlete.
Really?
Oh yeah, 4'4", strong. I was a beast. Yeah. So I wasn't that. It was just the politics into it, man. Coming from a small school, and then my senior year, I didn't do what I should have did. I should have had a better senior year. So
Right. Okay.
I just gave it up. It was a lot of money going into it that I didn't have. Training, traveling, going to different combines. So
Right.
I just gave it up.
So who introduced you to the bounty hunter thing?
Actually, I did.
Okay.
So there was a point where I was like, what am I going to do? I want to do something that I can still be athletic. I can still not. I don't want to work for somebody. I don't want to be in a cubicle working a 9 to 5. So I was like, let me look up a marshal, because they don't really work 9 to 5s. They travel. They kind of make up their own schedule a little bit. But it was a hiring freeze at the time. So I started doing more research. Googled bounty hunt popped up. So I'm like, what the fuck is this? I've heard about it, but what is it? So I did a little bit more research on it, wound up finding somebody in VA that was doing classes.
Okay.
And took the class, got licensed, and found one bondsman that gave me an opportunity to go find somebody. And I found him that day.
Really?
And I realized I was just a fucking natural at it.
Really?
And I loved it. The rush was just, it's something I can't explain.
And you had never considered a career in law enforcement or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Just being a marshal.
Right.
But not a police officer or anything like that, just a marshal. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And so how does this work exactly for people who aren't aware? And myself, I'm one of them. Like basically, if you get sent to jail, to get out, you go see a bail bondsman,
Right.
and you give them X amount of dollars, usually what, like a couple thousand or
So let me break it down too.
Yeah.
So I'm a bail bondsman.
right.
So in different states, you can either be a bondsman or a bounty hunter. In Ohio, if you get the bail bond license, you automatically can be a bounty hunter. You can go hunt people. All right. So how it works is, say somebody gets arrested in jail, gets arrested, took into jail, they get a $10,000 bond. 10,000, 10%. Now, not everybody, especially where I live, the economy is bad. So not everybody can afford to go pay that court $1,000 to get out of jail.
Right.
So what do? You call us, a bondsman. We'll finance that 10%, but we got to put that 10,000 up to the court and, guarantee your appearance. So let me make it simple. We write a post-dated check to the court for $10,000.
Right.
As long as this person goes to court, they will just void it. If that person misses court, you got X amount of days to find them, or they cash it and you lose money. So that's pretty much how it works. It's a risky business, but we finance that 10%. So instead of them putting 1,000 to the court, to us they would put down, say, maybe half and make payments on it.
Right. So you're kind of like the bank and then also the judge. Not the judge, but like you're basically tasked with going out and finding the person
Correct.
who owes you this money.
Yes.
It's kind of fascinating to me because it just feels like a wild ass system, like a wild way for this to play out. Like, having been involved with it for all these years, do you look at it like this is maybe not the way that society should be structured? Or do you think like, okay, this is a fair way for it to work?
I think because you got to think about, as far as bondsmen, if I wasn't around, there would just be people stuck in jail.
Yeah.
I'm actually an asset to the community, especially in low economic communities, because people don't have money to go straight to the court. So without us, they're just stuck in there.
Right.
So I never looked at it as far as that. It's more so it's a need. We need more. Yeah.
Okay. So, and how does this go that at one point you were working for somebody else and now you have your own business?
So I'm an independent contractor. So I work under an umbrella, which I have my own bounty tank bail bonds. But I work under an umbrella, which is Sly Bail Bonds.
Okay. And so the average person that enters into one of these agreements, could it just be any type of person, anyone who gets thrown in jail, or what?
As far as them getting out of jail?
And as far as the types of people that you're doing this service for, because watching your videos, I've seen dudes who seem like straight up gangbangers, and I've seen like I saw a girl working at a tanning salon.
Well, think about this: anybody can get in trouble.
Yeah,
you could be a good guy driving down the street, you get pulled over and get thrown in jail for anything. I mean, it could be something minor, or you could just be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Think how many guys get caught up with domestic violence and they're good people, just a woman lied on them and they're in jail. So you get all types of people. You get good people, white collar, you get the real goons.
Yeah.
You get a mixture. You get a lot of drug addicts.
Right.
And you get a lot of drug addicts.
Yeah.
It's just a mixture.
And that's gotta be a weird feeling though, because it's in your business to write this check to pay for them to get out, even if they are a drug addict, and even if you think that they seem completely not trustworthy, or do you have to like judge them as being somebody you'd want to work with?
No, you got to judge them. I mean, you can't, especially depending on if the bond's bigger. So say you got somebody that's $100,000 bond.
Right.
If they never go to court, they don't have anybody to co-sign for them that's going to take responsibility for them.
So that's an additional step that you sometimes add onto it, is somebody else has to co-sign?
All defendants have to have a co-signer. Oh. Somebody has to take responsibility for them. So if case they miss, I'm going to call them and say, hey, this person missed. So either you find them or we're going to garnish your wages. I mean, we're going to come after you. So you got to have somebody that takes accountability for the person in jail. Obviously, they're in jail. They just got out. They probably don't have a job to even pay back what the loan that was given to them. So somebody has to take responsibility. So
I get arrested, you put up the $10,000 with the post-dated check, then I go on the run and you're hunting me down. At what point does the hunt begin? Where I miss a court date, then the hunt begins?
Once you miss that court date and the clerks notify me, they say, hey, Frank, XO miss. You got a certain amount of days to find them or you're going to lose that money. Then the hunt starts.
Really?
Yeah.
And so at that point, because I've seen some of your videos where you're staying up for days.
I don't sleep.
You're losing your mind trying to find a person. And sometimes when I'm watching it, it just kind of feels like you're doing the impossible. Like you're driving around, you're asking random people, have you seen this guy? People are looking at you like, fucking no, or maybe or whatever. It feels like I'm the kind of person who would get so frustrated so easily by that I could never imagine having to do that, having to hunt somebody down and just knowing that this whole city or state or this whole part of the country is a whole area they could be in. And you don't really have a lot of resources because it's just you. You're not law enforcement.
No, I'm not law enforcement. I mean, not everybody can do this job.
Right.
For one, you have to have amazing patience.
Right.
I have amazing patience. Like I said, I'm sitting in the car for hours.
Well, staying up for 40 hours.
Staying up for 2 or 3 days, not sleeping, pissing in a bottle because I can't get out the car or leave that location. I mean, so it's not meant for everybody. It's a special person it takes to do this job. Now, as far as resources, when we do the application, we get basic information about the defendant.
Okay.
Height, weight, where they live, some references. So we got a pretty good idea of a small background piece of them already. I've developed a network of people where I've made a lot of relationships in the streets. Mm-hmm. So I got a lot of people that help me out. I help them out. And so it helps me out when I'm finding people. It's not as frustrating for me.
Because, okay, you're working usually within the same area, so you've got connections with all kinds of people who are involved in grimy shit. So it's like you have a whole network. Usually, how often is it that you're working to find somebody and it's just a cold case, like nothing to work on?
It happens every now and then. Sometimes it's just hard to find a motherfucker, man. I mean,
right.
I'm gonna say maybe 2 out of 10. It gets super hard. You know, maybe every couple months, I get a super hard one.
Right.
Where this person's they know how to hide. They got resources. They got 67 women in the hood where they just couch surfing, going to house, and the girls are loyal. So, I mean, it happens.
Okay. And so then say that I actually managed to stay in hiding, or I take off to fucking Mexico or whatever, and they cash your check and they take your 10 grand. Are you still looking for me?
Yeah, because you can get a remittance. Basically, if I find that person, they'll give you some of your money back. So the hunt will never stop.
Really?
Yeah.
But it becomes a more casual thing where you're not going to spend every day looking for me, or what?
No, it's not. No. Because think about it, if you lost $10,000, is it going to be casual for you to just kind of let it go in the wind? No, you're going to be trying to find that guy to get that money back.
But then at the same time, there's so many different things that you could be doing with your time, right? Because there's all these other people that you could be looking for, right? Or is there usually like one person that you can focus on?
You got to prioritize though. So I might have one guy, just out on $100,000 bond, is one guy on $5,000. So you do got to kind of prioritize,
right?
But no, that guy that got away is going to get caught at some point. I'm still going to invest a lot of energy in him.
So you don't have anybody that owes you a significant amount of money and they've just been gone for years and they managed to kind of get away with it?
No, see, it's not so much about the money. See, the money we can go after and we can sue them, get that back, garnish their wages. So if they miss court and we lose that money, then yeah, we got to go back after them so we can get the remittance and get some of it back.
Right. Interesting.
All right, people, we just hit 300,000 subscribers. You know we're trying to hit 400,000 subscribers. So that little red button, tap it, tap in. Appreciate y'all.